Yes, good morning. It is that time of the week again, fitness fragrance review time. Yes, I'm very happy because my brother has just bought two new fragrances, and if you can hear that sort of noise in the background, he's in the shower getting ready for work. So I thought I would nick one of them to do a full review today. If you haven't seen my reviews before, essentially I'm going to do a morning workout. So I'm going to go for a run, walk to the gym, do a gym workout, walk back, all while reviewing this fragrance called Topman Sport. Essentially, we'll rank it on 5 categories. It's price/value for money. Its versatility is how much you can use it in different situations. Its projections, how much I'm noticing it during my workout, and we're going to do a room spray test to see how much the fragrance fills up a room. We'll also look at compliment factor. Do I think people are saying nice things about it? And its longevity, where I'll spray my arm before I go to the gym, do my work, have a shower. A few hours will go by. See if we can still detect it after. And yeah, Topman Sport is the one we are looking at today. Topman is kind of mainly known as being a bit of a clothing company, kind of thinking that sort of similar mold as we've said before with other fragrances like Zara, and it feels like a lot of these shops tend to be just having fragrances almost by the till. It's almost like an impulse buy essentially, and this looks like it's no different. So yeah, what we'll do, we'll quickly talk about the notes in this. There isn't a huge amount of info on this one, and then yeah, we'll start our workout. Not a huge note breakdown for this one. I don't even find actually one website that said about what notes are in this, and you do tend to find out a lot of modern fragrances these days, they don't give a huge note breakdown, but in the opening you've got grapefruit and pepper. So as you can imagine, there's a little bit of a fruity sparkle, a fresh sparkle in the opening, which I'm a big fan of. Very uplifting, very bright, and again kind of lives up to the word sport in my opinion. Got a bit of geranium in the middle, again nice clean freshness, a bit of muskiness, and then in the base you've got a bit of sandalwood, which I just think ties the fragrance together. You tend to find in most fragrances, particularly sort of fresh ones or ones that are best for transition seasons, you tend to get a cedarwood or like a sandalwood just to sort of bind that fragrance together, essentially just smooth off the edges. And yeah, what it's really led to is look, this very clean, safe type of scent. And I think from what I'm gathering, and I can't find any info on this, which is really irritating me, this smells like a clone of Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme Light Blue. That's what it smells like. It really does. I've had that original fragrance, and when my brother first sprayed this one the other day, that's what I instantly picked up. That being said, when I looked at the notes of that one, obviously it's got more like Sicilian lemon. It probably is more lemony, sort of sharper citrus than this one, whereas this one feels a little bit more fruity potentially. But I'm definitely getting that vibe, 100% I'm getting the vibe of a Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue. So even if it's not a straight up clone, it's one that I think you can use in exactly the same situation. So time to do our workout now. Anyway, we're going to do the first 2 categories on the run, price/value for money, and also its versatility. So yeah, I'll see you out there. And we are off. So today it is Topman Sport, and first of all, it's so nice to have a fragrance with a normal name. Recently I've done some videos with some very bizarre fragrance names. They've got hashtags in, they've just got long words. Doesn't make much sense. This is very clear. Topman Sport. And price/value for money for this one, I could only find it on the fragrance shop. 100ml, £5.50. Do I think that's good value for money? 100%. Now, take out the fact I think this is a clone of Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue from what I'm getting. If I was blindfolded and never smelt this one before, I think it sort of fits into that £15 to £20 mark. And I say that because look, it's not really natural that, none of the oils, you don't think, oh, this is a really natural grapefruit or a really, natural sandalwood or anything like that. But it's pleasant, it's easy to pull off, and for what it's actually kind of marketed as a sport fragrance, obviously doing a run this morning, it feels perfect. You can use it pretty much all the time and just have it as your signature scent, which we'll talk about next in versatility. But yeah, easy to pull off, mass pleasing, and just very uplifting and refreshing, puts you in a good mood, and that's what you want. The first thing with fragrance is, yes, you want to smell nice, but you want to smell clean, and it does give you that clean vibe. Now, where I would mark this one down is not the scent, it's not the price or anything like that in particular. It's more the fact that the brand, obviously Topman, is mainly a clothing brand, and what I've found from my experiences with Zara is they do tend to discontinue fragrances after about a year. Unless they're super popular, you tend to find, oh, I wish I bought another bottle 5 months ago because I can't get it now. And you then have to look on eBay to get them, and on eBay at the moment, there is someone selling this Topman Sport, and they're charging £15, and I can see that being the general price in a year's time. Look, I think it's absolutely worth that, but the problem I'll have with it is when I know it's been £5 before, I might just go in my mind, you know what, I'll just go on the Essence Vault and get a clone on there, because it might have a slightly stronger performance, or it might just smell a little bit more like the original, and that kind of limits this one. You only get it in 100ml size as well, which gives you less flexibility. So that's the only thing I can mark it down for, is the fact it's probably going to be discontinued, as a lot of these ones are, and it's already quite hard to find. But in terms of scent quality, it would be a 10 out of 10. In terms of the price and everything, it's punching above its weight. But the fact you don't have that versatility of bottles, and I know these clothing brands do tend to discontinue these scents, that's just going to mark it down to a 9 for me today. Okay, so moving on to versatility for Topman Sport. How much can you dress this one up, dress this one down? Different ages, different occasions, different seasons, all those things. Well, look, any kind of sports summer type fragrance always tends to be a little bit fresher, and that leads to a bit more versatility. When you've got things like grapefruit, pepper, geranium, even myself, I find, yes, it's a floral note, but it's not as heavy. It's a bit more of a lighter floral. It makes it more wearable, and look, I think this definitely does have that masculine edge, mainly because of the pepper in it. But it's not one where if a woman was wearing this one, particularly someone who's doing that sport, maybe running, I think, oh, it smells really wrong. It is a bit juvenile. I think grapefruit I've had in Cool Water Wave before, which was a lovely fragrance by Davidoff. It does have an element of being a bit younger, more suited to, someone in their late teens, early 20s. And that's where I'd say this is still better. I'm being stereotypical. A sporty, athletic young man, maybe getting into fragrances, just being a little bit more worried about the hair and clothing. I think this is a great starting point. It's definitely got that light blue vibe, and light blue's obviously been very popular because of its versatility and used in those more casual summer situations. I think it's great. Look, do I think I'd wear it in the winter? No, it's not great when it comes through the cold, but it's got signature scent potential. If you just were someone who has a very fleeting interest in just wanting to smell nice, just smell pleasant, and leave a good impression, whether you're going to a job interview or you're working in an office with other people, this will do that job for you. Absolutely no worries at all. And that means it's pretty versatile. And for that reason, I'm going to give it another 9 out of 10, because would I want something else to complement this one? Personally, yes, I would. I want more of a nighttime wear, suit and tie type fragrance. But if you just had, again, if you were not someone who's really into your scent and you just want something to get you through every day, this is the scent DNA that's perfect for those occasions. So yeah, 9 out of 10. When we get back, we will talk about projection and how much I noticed it during my workout. Workout done. That was hard work this morning, I have to say. I felt quite stiff in the old legs, but it's now time to spray my room and test for projection. So if you haven't seen this before, essentially I'm going to do 10 sprays. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this is really just to see if a colleague came in, say this was a work office, would they notice the fragrance? Obviously this is my bedroom. Would a family member or a friend, if they came in, would they notice the smell? Now it is 9:15 as well. I'll be leaving the gym around 12:15. Just going to spray my arm on each side 3 times. And this is the test for longevity, as we spoke about earlier on. So essentially I'll walk to the gym, do my gym work, and have a shower, then I'll smell my arm after without applying it again, just to see if we can smell any of Topman Sport. But what we're going to do now, let that sit in my room for 10 minutes, go downstairs, and we'll talk about how much I noticed the fragrance during my run while I have a coffee. So, projection during my run. How much did I notice this fragrance? Tom Ford? I wish it was Tom Ford. Topman Sport. How much did I notice it? To be honest, this was my own fault. I noticed it about 3 or 4 times, and I'll be honest, it's certainly punching above its weight in its projection. Really, really impressed. That being said, on this coat, I sprayed Tom Ford Noir, or a clone of Tom Ford Noir, the Essence Ford 213 earlier, just because I thought it smelled a bit sweaty because I didn't put it in the wash yesterday. Sorry. And that was also overpowering at times. So sometimes I had a bit of both, but there was no two ways about it. I definitely noticed it a couple of times on my top underneath. So really happy with that. I reckon with the wind being a little bit stronger and it was kind of behind me on the way back, that's when I noticed it a little bit more rather than when it was in my face. But that was great, and it did keep me going. I felt quite tired running, so I had quite stiff legs today, and that did help me just get through again, just a calm and relaxing, recognisable scent, which I really enjoyed. Do I think it's going to fill up a room though? No, I don't. There's no real sweet vanillic sticky notes that tends to do better in these situations. Hopefully maybe that slight floral component and maybe that bit of spice will add to that bit of extra performance, but I'm not expecting this to fill a room. But yeah, quite happy with how it performed during my run. I think if someone was going by me and they were quite close proximity to me, I think they would have noticed the scent. So yeah, let's head upstairs and we'll see how much I can detect it in my room now. well, we are upstairs and I can smell it. Now, it's very, very light. It's certainly not a strong performer here, but there's definitely something there. About 15-20% as strong as it was. Now, it's been about 15 minutes since I sprayed my room. If someone came in, they would definitely detect this, though. And what I like about it is it smells like a fragrance, but if someone thought it was like a room spray, let's say, they would still think it's nice, if that makes sense. Sometimes you can get those ones that aren't very pleasant. This is really calming, really relaxing. It smells like clean linen. That's what I'm getting from this. And that's nice. If someone's sitting next to you at a computer or a desk, they're going to notice this certainly within the first hour. And I think the first couple, maybe even 3 hours. So more than happy with that. For £5.50, it's punching above its weight for projection. Is it super beast mode? No. Is it maybe softer end? Probably yes. So I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's hit par really for what you'd want. I personally wouldn't want anything weak, and this certainly being more of a freshy fragrance, I want it to have a little bit more kick, which they don't normally. So 7.5 out of 10. I think it's hit par, and it's yeah, it's doing well. I'm really, really enjoying this one. Time to head to the gym, and we'll talk about compliment factor on the way. Wow, it is so windy. Thankfully, it wasn't quite as strong as this when I was running, because that would have made it even more difficult. But let's talk compliment factor next for Topman Sport. Do I think this is a compliment getting sent? Well, I definitely do. Again, anything that's got that kind of Dolce & Gabbana light blue smell is going to have a lot of compliment qualities about it. That's why it's been so popular over the years. And just from my own experience, when I had light blue, I remember getting one compliment at work. Again, I've mentioned this before. This was when I was working as a sports coach on a holiday park. I remember there was again, all the lifeguards were kind of 16, 17, so they were quite young. And I always felt a little bit out of place that I never quite fit in the same way, because they were talking about things that, you know, I felt too old for these days. And I remember I just had this fragrance on at the time again. It came out in 2007, so it's not a particularly new one. And I remember someone was sticking up this like signage on a chair. They're standing on a chair, so they were kind of more my height at the time. And I remember saying, "Oh, I don't know what that is," she said to me, "but you smell good." So she said it in that kind of voice. And I said, "Oh, it's Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue." And she goes, "Oh, I've heard of that one." So it is an iconic scent that people are quite familiar with. Honestly, you don't really smell this scent DNA anymore. I can't think of anyone that particularly wears this again. Everything's been taken over so much by these blue fragrances. And in some ways, this one, even though it's a clean, fresh, easy to pull off, safe scent, it does have an element of uniqueness these days, which I think will give you more confidence than maybe it would have done 5 or 10 years ago. And so far, from my experience of the projection, it has got enough kick to get noticed within those first couple of hours. Certainly to use it as a top-up spray in your lunch break, and you know, you put it on then spray 3 or 4 times, which you can do because this is so cheap. You can maybe overspray a bit more. So I'm going to give compliment factor for this round an 8.5 out of 10. Of course, if we get any at the gym today, we'll bump up to a 10. Phone's just literally said rain expected shortly. Now the sun is still out, but there is a black cloud coming, so I've raced against time to get back before I get soaked. But of course, something we haven't rushed today is longevity, and it is 12:15 bang on, which means it's been exactly 3 hours since I applied this fragrance, Topman Sport. Can we still smell it after my workout, my walk and my shower? Okay, so unfortunately this is a little bit underwhelming. It is there, but it's probably 10% there. It's almost gone, and in the next hour or two, even probably by the time I've actually got home, I think this one's going to disappear. And look, that probably makes sense when you look at the price of this, and it's done really well today. It doesn't smell the highest quality. You know, it is a cheap fragrance. It would have been made with cheaper synthetic fragrances, and it hasn't got that kick about it. But the original light blue, as it says in the name, is quite light itself. It's not a heavy fragrance, it's not really strong. It's built for those summer times, but of course, if you are active, you're getting hot and sweaty, I think you're going to want to take this one with you for the day. I don't think it's going to get you through 9 till 5, for example. And yeah, look, it's probably, I'd say the best way I can describe it is what you'd expect for a fragrance that is under £10. It's not great, but it's okay. I think if this one was really too heavy and too strong, I'd probably be moaning the other way, saying it's too aggressive, too synthetic. So I think it's hit the sweet spot overall. Like I said, it's slightly below par, and for that reason, I'm going to give it, we'll give it a 5 out of 10. as I said, if you're buying these fragrances, if you want longevity, don't go for this one. I'd probably recommend getting a light blue clone from maybe the Essence or Noted Rome, or some of the higher end or well-known, respected clone brands, because I think it might have a little bit more than this, but it's not bad. And yeah, again, I can't be too critical of it. It's got me through my workout session this morning, but would I want to reapply it now? Definitely. So maybe buy two for that sort of price, 550. I'd be quite happy to buy two for that. We are back. I am worn out. I must admit, I am worn out, but it has been a good morning of workout. I have managed to do 42,558 steps. Yes, 42,558 steps, all while wearing this fragrance here, Topman Sport. What was the overall score? And based on the 5 rounds we've done during my workout today, what did it get overall? It's done well. 39 out of 50. I'm a little bit disappointed it didn't quite reach 40 because I think it probably deserved it. It just got let down mainly on its longevity, really. Today it lost, well, 5. It only got 5 out of 10 for that round. So 5 out of those 11 points it didn't get for full marks was lost on that. And look, it's not terrible. Again, what we got to remember, this is a £5.50 fragrance. It's very, very cheap, and it's definitely worth that. So that's the first thing. I'd 100% recommend it if you're somebody who likes that Dolce & Gabbana light blue pour-on sort of smell. This is perfect. And it's great even if you're not someone who's familiar with that. Again, put it in your gym bag, work bag, whatever. That's where I think this one's best. And I'll be honest with you, I think this can replace the original. Not because it's better than that, because I think if you like the original, I'd still get that one if that's your favourite scent. But I think if you're just someone who wants that slight DNA just for everyday occasions, maybe like, again, a white shirt, then go for it. Just go and get this one because it will do those same jobs for you. And you can buy 2, 3, 4 of those for the price of just one for the light blues. And as I said, what I say with this, it's just mass pleasing. It's got that real mass pleasing, lovely grapefruit glass as you put it on. And it's good. I've never smelled a Topman. I didn't even know they did fragrances. Obviously, I think of Zara mainly when I think of those sort of designer clothing or clothing brand fragrances. But this is good, and this stands up to all of those Zara ones, particularly their freshy ones in their line as well. So yeah, let me know if anyone has tried this one before as well. But it's exactly what you want. If you're someone who's just sort of in that 20s, 30s range, which I think Topman are kind of marketing their clothing towards, then this is perfect. This would be a compliment getter. I still believe that if someone catches a whiff of it. And ultimately, when my brother got it, that's the first thing I thought, that smells really nice. What is that? And I was very happy to hear it was actually a Topman fragrance, a very cheap one. So definitely one I'm going to consider getting at some point if it's still around. That's going to be the other thing just to be aware of. If it's something you really want to try, I'd probably say try and get it sooner rather than later, because again, these go quite quickly. And when it gets to eBay, just be a bit careful of the price because it can get more expensive. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed this one today. About to go out for a walk, and I'm going to try another Topman fragrance, Topman Bergamot. And we said this one was a clone of light blue. I've managed to work out what this is definitely a clone of, and it's really good. So hopefully you'll join me for that one when you next see it. Hopefully I'll upload that one by tomorrow. But thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.